what stood out to you about our product? What kind of, who was part of the thing? I'm really curious to hear unadulterated.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so actually we had a huge debate about who was going to get the awards, like we do at every show, and we came in hearing that there was going to be the year of an electric bike, and there were going to be a lot of cool cargo bikes, and so we were looking around and we kept, we were a little bit underwhelmed, like we were looking for something special. We looked at a bunch of stuff, and I came over here and it just clicked. You guys have been making them for 15 plus years. You've learned a thing or two. Like, this bike is super versatile. The smaller wheel and back, makes it a little more nimble. I mean, a whole host of reasons. They all kind of added up, that you can buy it electrified or a regular version. Haul cargo, haul kids. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is. I'm stealing all your lines. No, but the other thing is, we're just at the magazine. We're such big fans of urban biking and commuting, and it's we really want to encourage our readers to open their eyes to the fact that it is possible to ditch your car. You can ride around with your kids. You can ride your kids to school and drop them off. You can go to the grocery store, and it's finally the products are coming out like your bike that are showing it is, here it is. You can go buy it, and especially when it's electrified, it makes it that much easier to get around. So the benefits are huge, more exercise, less gas, cost less, no parking, so it's that's a big part. I mean, we review mountain bikes and road bikes and everything, of course, but we really when we look at our reader holistically and everything they do, it's hey, biking to work or biking around town is a really good thing. You should look into it, try to make it happen. So. I
mean, I have to say, I'm just so deeply grateful that, no, I'm serious, that the media, I mean, not the media, but just to say you guys represent a voice which is influencing the decisions people make, and it's awesome.
Yeah, well, that's the whole goal, right? It's I feel our job at the magazine is to look at everything and filter it out and say hey reader, here, or, and our, viewer, here's what's really cool and what's happening in our world, check it out. And so this is definitely a big trend that we're huge fans of.
I mean, I'm really curious because you mentioned a trend. Again, I want to say Sam Moulton. Moulton. Yeah, so from Outside Magazine. Yep. But I wanted to say, so one of the things, Pete is kind enough to shoot this, but there's a woman working on a documentary film called Liz Canning, and it's about the growth and what she calls the birth and boom of cargo bikes in America. And what you're speaking to is a trend, and I think she would love to hear just your perspective, just as a person looking in. What do you see as far as the trend, and what's showing you that it's a trend?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, to be perfectly frank, I think for a long time the bike industry kind of had its head up its ass, and they're finally, it's not just electrified cargo bikes, but it's just making bikes and bike culture that's accessible. It's you don't have to wear spandex, you don't have to be a mountain biker, you don't have to look like a geek, or you know what I mean? It's bikes for people, affordable bikes. Bike share programs. So all of that comes together, you know what I mean? And it's businesses and communities. I'm talking about bikes in general, making it easy to bike in Chicago and have a place to park your bike and to change into work clothes at work. There's so many different components, and then also cities building flow parks, and so pump tracks or whatever, right in downtown. I look at there's a big, I feel bikes are sort of in general having a moment in the country. And you can look at individual numbers and saying mountain biking is really up, and I feel mountain towns, for example, their tourism boards and their city officials are finally realizing mountain bikers actually spend money. They will come to town and they will stay in a place and they will eat dinner and they will go mountain biking, and so and I think now the bike industry with specifically urban and commuting bike, it's people just they want to ride bikes, but we need to help make it easy. And the one thing, I think one barrier to bike commuting is that people think that bike commuters look like dorks. And you see them out there, and they kind of do. They're on a dorky bike, and they got their thing, and they're meh, meh, meh. It's let's make cool bike clothing. And so people are starting to make bike clothing that is functional but looks cool. And so you can bike to work on cool bikes that are easy to do, and you look the part, and you feel better about yourself. And at the end of the day, that's I'm for all of that, and that all kind of rolled up together. I feel hopefully we're having a moment with bike, and it's only going to get bigger. You know what I'm saying? So that's the deal. Our readers are big bikers. We're big fans of biking at the mag in the big picture, and that's what's happening.
Cool. Sam, I want Pete also reports a lot on electric bikes, and you've mentioned a couple times it's on with electric bikes. I just wanted, just for his purpose, I mean, you just gave us this awesome like top 5 of the show, gear of the show. So that's a sweet honor for sure. Yeah.
Well, electric bikes, like the big problem with electric bikes, I feel like, is they just haven't looked very cool, and they're heavy and they're weird, and they have this they have a perception problem, and I think we need to help them be like, they're actually really cool. They look cool, they're fun to ride, they're easy. We need to do a better job with the image, I think, of electric bikes. And I think that's finally starting to happen now.
How about Xtracycle? How are we doing?
You guys are doing well. You're doing well. But again, it's super versatile and practical. You know what I mean? I think that's important because while e-bikes are obviously a lot less money than a car, they're also a significant investment. And so, and I think some people have a perception that like a bike like this would be hard to ride, or but like in reality, it's like you get on, it's like, oh, like I can do this, like I can ride around heavy stuff, I can ride my kids around, but it's it's just baby steps to figuring that out.
I want to thank you, Sam. It's awesome. It's really, really cool. What an honor to have you pick us out. This is my 15th Interbike. You can imagine the resistance we've seen over the years, and so it just really means a lot to me to have you come here and present this award. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for shooting this, Pete.